the lawyer for Destiny Colson, accused of killing her boyfriend. First of all, Lanny Fisher, you have a great reputation in your jurisdiction. Explain to me what's going to go into your defense of insanity.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Nancy.
Sure. Okay.
Destiny's never been diagnosed with schizophrenia. I filed a motion challenging her competency at the family court level, and a PhD psychologist spent a considerable amount of time with her, testing her. His diagnosis was actually schizoaffective disorder, with the depressed type, and that's marked by components of a mood disorder and other psychotic symptoms like hallucinations. And maybe there's not a huge difference, but the bottom line is he took a long look at her, looked at all of the history that we have with her being in the system and the mental health system, and diagnosed her as schizoaffective disorder.
Well, isn't it true that, as a matter of fact, the state shrink has dealt with over 1,000 kids with schizophrenia for over 30 years and says that your client is faking?
It is true that he said that. First of all, he's not the state shrink, Nancy. He doesn't work for the state. He works for a private.
Was he appointed by the court?
Once our family court judge deemed her mentally incompetent based on the assessment by the psychologist, he ordered this shrink to come in and treat her.
So he's appointed by the state. That was my question. This is the shrink appointed by the court.
To try to bring her up to a level of competency. He met with her for 25 minutes and diagnosed her some Abilify. A week later, he wrote his report that she was faking these symptoms.
Well, has the court agreed that she is mentally competent?
Based on the second report, Judge Nelson in the family court did find her to be mentally competent, and we had a Phase 2 hearing in Michigan. We have a two-phase system. The second phase determining whether she should be treated in juvenile or adjudicated. Yes. And yes, Judge Nelson, based on the second report, said that he agreed with the second doctor that she was.
Lanny, you were just saying that the judge and a state-appointed shrink, a court-appointed shrink, all agree, and this is after a hearing, that your client is faking mental instability. And your response regarding what Cody Colson had to say?
Well, my response is he wasn't sure when Destiny had seen a doctor previously. She saw a doctor in Kalamazoo. Cody referred to that. That was in December of 2009, and that was a psychologist who determined her to be disabled for Social Security benefits.
A Social Security doctor.
Yes. She was
Yeah,
depressed.
where all their patients come in and they all get Social Security after that.
Well, I'm not sure what percentage do, Nancy. I know in this case she was depressed. She was having a lot of issues. She had stopped going to school in 8th grade. She had dropped out of school in 8th grade. She had, I have a report card, she had 7 failing grades in every subject.
So she dropped out of school. You know, Lanny, all due respect, because you're a fine lawyer, in fact, a great lawyer by many accounts, but just because some Social Security doctor says she should get a paycheck every month and she drops out of school, I'm not getting insanity out of that. And the best Cody Colson could tell me is she'd get angry and lock herself in the bedroom. Please, come on. That could be any teenage girl in this country that runs to a room and slams the door. That's not crazy. Liz, come in my ear and tell me, where are we getting these pictures of her? Are these on Facebook, or what are these pictures? Facebook. Okay, so she's on Facebook, Liz. Is that right, Matt?
She's on Facebook. In fact, Nancy, on her Facebook page, one of her activities that she likes is acting.
Okay, Lanny Fisher. You know you got a problem. I know you're not going to admit it because you're a great lawyer, and you're going to say, I don't have a problem, Nancy. This girl is insane. But what about her being on Facebook leading right up to the time she blasts her lover when he tries to break up with her and leaves him dead on the kitchen floor, acting and singing? I'm looking at it myself right now, Lanny, and she's going on and off Facebook right up until the time of the homicide. Now, how is that insane?
A couple of things, Nancy. First of all, there's a second prong in Michigan, and I'm sure it's in other states as well, that she has to be able to assist me in her defense. And this is a
that's
girl
not
who,
insanity. That's incompetence.
and that's what my motion was for, Nancy. It was for competence. And part of it is I need her help in defending her, especially on a case that carries a life offense. And let me just go back, and we've heard a lot of talk about her being the highest functioning child at the juvenile center. She was 17 at the time when he said that. She's in there with 12-year-olds. I would hope that even
There
at
were
17...
other teens her age in there. I've already looked at that, Lanny.
She
There
was
were
the
other
oldest-
teens
she's
her
the oldest
age.
in there. And
By
it
a
wasn't
couple
that
of months.
Even Dr. Christensen, the doctor that we're talking about who found her competent, Nancy, said that she has low mental processing speed. She's borderline intellectual range. And essentially, here was his argument, Nancy, in a nutshell, that she's been diagnosed and treated 20 times, and she's never told anyone about it. Well, that's just simply not true. 2 years ago in 2009, the last time she was diagnosed, she told Dr. Griffith about it, and she received
Wait, this is
SSI.
the Social Security doctor.
And the next time, was the psychologist that the prosecutor picked who found her to have schizoaffective disorder.